Hello, everyone. I'm Bo from Brutal Commentary, and today I'm going to be doing my post-fight show for UFC 322. Jack Della Maddalena versus Islam Makhachev that just went down yesterday, November 15th. Overall, some questions got answered in this card. Some amazing knockouts, especially the first three fights on the main card. The main card opener, next fight, and then the featured fight. Three spectacular knockouts. Some great knockouts on the prelims, too. Pretty good submission. Some really fun fights. Some fraud checking happened for sure on this card. And, we just saw basically greatness on two different levels. So now I'm here to just give you my thoughts and overall what happened in the fight and what I think this means for each fighter moving forward. Without further ado, let's get down to the card. First up on the card, Matheus Camilo defeated Vyacheslav Borshev via unanimous decision. For this one, it was kind of, I thought, make or break for Slava Claus, simply because if he had lost, that would have been 3 losses in a row. And against a guy like Camilo, who, is all right. I mean, he's 24. He's got plenty of room to grow. But not someone who you look at the page and, just jump off like, whoa, world title contender right there. But that being said, I thought Camilo did exactly what I thought he needed to do to win. Use some striking, time takedowns, and garner some good control time. He had good control in the second round, specifically when he did time some good takedowns. And you can see, no matter how much Borshev has been, training with Team Alpha Male, it seemingly his takedown defense will never improve. You saw, like, when Camilo went for some of his double legs, like, Borshev never really got a chance to sprawl or put his hand on the back of Camilo's head to try and push him off. Just some of the more basic stuff for fighting the grips. Now, at times he could get up, and you could definitely see Camilo was tired in the third round, but he did enough to win rounds 1 and 2, I thought, and then round 3, kind of a coin flip. You could give it to Borshev, you could give it to Camilo. It wouldn't have mattered. I thought Camilo won clear as day. And while I thought Borshev had good moments on the feet, like I said, I thought he did a good job attacking the body. At times, he just didn't do enough to win. So I think this is it for Borshev. He's going to be 8-6-1 now. Yeah, not a great MMA record overall. For Camilo, like I said, he's young. He's still got a lot of time to improve. I don't think he's ever going to contend for a belt. I'm going to say this right now. He just has too many holes in his game, I feel like, and I'm sure someone else will beat him. But a win's a win at the end of the day, so good on him. Who they give him in this, stacked lightweight division, it is anybody's guess. Jim Miller is literally a name I could pick off in a hat and still think he could lose that fight. Borshev, karate combat, or dirty boxing, one of those two. Just give him a striking promotion. He'll do fine. Moving up on our card. Boxiger, I apologize if I got that wrong. Sursakayev knocks out Eric Makhachev in the third round. Before this, and when they entered the cage, Sursakayev was minus 1,200, 12 to 1 favorite. And I thought Makhachev did a great job of, making it competitive for as long as he lasted. In fact, I kind of gave him round 1. I thought Makhachev, at first he kind of did what one would expect someone who's as big of an underdog as him to try and win, just press Sursakayev, who's a really good and fun striker, against the fence and use his clinch work. And he did that pretty good. He actually landed some pretty good elbows too. But what I didn't expect was Makhachev to have some solid boxing fundamentals. Caught Sursakayev a few times on the feet. And that leads to me the one problem I have with Sursakayev. Like, he has some good timing. He's got really creative striking. And he's good with hitting the body. And in fact, he does have some wrestling. You saw with he got Makhachev down off the trip, I think, in the clinch, and then got the tight waist and just used a bunch of mat returns. He's good on that, but man, is he overconfident as fuck. Like, there was sometimes, you saw with his hands down, and like at times when Makhachev touched him up on his chin. You saw Sursakayev didn't really care. He was, or I guess not caring is the right word, just like kind of playing it off. Same with he did with Eric Nolan, just like smiling, hands down, just free flowing, gesturing, come at me. I'm telling you right now, he's going to lose one day. I know he's not going to remain undefeated for long. Now, granted, again, he's also really young, especially at middleweight, 24. He's got all the time in the world. I expect him to get better, absolutely. But right now, as he is, I think one of the upper echelon of middleweight is going to catch him badly. Like, just thinking of the rankings, right? Like Christian Leroy Duncan, I think knocks him out badly. I think Shara Bullet knocks him out. Roman Kopylov, even though they come off a loss, checks him out. RoboCop, Abus. Like these upper echelon guys, I think are going to make Sursakayev pay very badly. So I think you got to slow ride Sursakayev just a bit more. Let him cook. Let him gain the experience. Like, I don't know, give him Dustin Stoltzfus. That's a good next step up in competition. Marc-Andre Barrio, that's a good step up in competition. The winner of Ismail Nardiev versus Ryan Loder, those are good steps up in competition. Or, even, I want to say Azamat Bakoyev, but my worry is Azamat has a lot of fights to his name. He's a good veteran, MMA veteran. And also, I do think Yusri Balgoria would fuck him up. So, and by the way, you saw the knockout he landed specifically on Makhachev. You saw Makhachev kind of come in with sort of a shovel uppercut, and Sursakayev crashed into him with a right hand. And you saw the knockout was great. He because Makhachev looked like he just lost his legs and just doing the chicken dance until he fell face first onto the mat. And thank God Sursakayev did not follow up. Like good show of restraint. So, like I said, he's got great timing. He's got good flashy striking. He is well-rounded. But I just think you got to slow rise him because he's going to lose that O if you rush him up too fast, for sure. Moving up, Fatima Klein defeated Angela Hill via unanimous decision. I don't know why one of the judges had it 29-28 for Klein. It makes no sense to me, but whatever. I've been saying this. I'm high on Fatima Klein. I know she's 25, and it'd be foolish to rise her up the ranks too fast. I understand this, but man, Fatima Klein is good. That camp out in like New Jersey, like I know her and Anna Blanchfield and teammates. That gym is producing some pretty good women's athletes for the UFC all together. Because Klein is good. She's really, really good. She just beat the number 12th ranked Angela Hill, who's been in there with everybody. I mean, coming off just the top 15, like I'm looking at right now, Hill has fought, let's see here, right? The champion in Mackenzie Dern. She's fought Verna Jandrudova. She's fought Lamos. She's fought Yasmin Lucinda. She's fought Ricci, fought Andrade. That's like 6 names off the top of my head. And those are fighters who aren't even ranked. And those are fighters who are ranked. I'm thinking of all the other ones she's fought who aren't ranked. And the fact that Klein, I thought, put together a well-rounded performance as she did, I thought was impressive. My main concern for Klein was how's the gas tank going to fare up, because Hill is pretty good at maintaining a good output and oftentimes has better cardio. But I thought Klein did a good job overall of having efficient cardio. In fact, her output in this fight was honestly quite impressive. Now, granted, UFC stats are not the best to go off of. I understand this. But 152 strikes to, Hill's 65, I think is impressive. And, at a clip, 268 in total, 152 landed. Again, I'm not sure how exactly that works on stats. Of like, does a jab she land count? Like, I don't get that part. But still, Klein had good clinch striking with those knees and elbows. Those good distance striking too. You saw it for boxing. She was able to fight off southpaw and orthodox. In southpaw, she landed good rear kicks to the body. In orthodox, she landed good boxing combos. And then her takedowns were very good. Her control was nice. Landed a nice elbow in the first round, which I'm surprised didn't cut Hill's head open. But Hill's tough as they come. On that third round specifically, I thought, I think Klein was maybe 20 or so seconds away from knocking out Angela Hill, because you saw they both, Klein takes Hill down in the third round and starts looking for the finish. She's looking to stamp a claim on this is by going for the ground and pound. Eventually, as they scramble up, She lands a spinning back fist that nails Hill right in the chin. Hill gets up and then finishes off with a rear kick from Orthodox and clashes perfectly, kind of shin to the bottom of the jaw. Just so how that didn't knock out Angela Hill is beyond me. Besides, the girl is tough as nails. But, Klein's proven she's a top 15 level fighter. She got past the Angela Hill test and did so, I think, very impressively compared to some other fighters I've seen pass the test. Now, who they give her? Like I said, 25, really, really good fighter. And I think is a very talented one. Now, can she fight for the belt? I can certainly think she could. I think right now her skill set is very good. But I'd be lying if I told you if I think, right now she's the hot next thing. I mean, give her some time, obviously. But who does she fight in this top 15, right? Now, she's fought Angela Hill, so she's going to be in 11 to 15. The other fighters you have Hebas, Demisi Gomes, Alexa Dainara, and Tisha Pennington. Tisha Pennington doesn't make sense. I don't know why. Tisha Pennington doesn't make a lot of sense. Dainara and Gomes are fellow prospects, new to the top 15. And that could be, prospect versus prospect, either Gomes or Dainara could be an option. Or they could give her Amanda Hebas, who is coming off 2 losses. So you have some things you can play around with. As for Angela Hill, they might give her another unranked fighter who's climbing up the ranks. That's a possibility for sure. I think they might give her Alexa Dainara, or Luma Lumbume wouldn't be a terrible option. It's like with Angela Hill, like what do? Do you give her a bunch of someone she's already fought in a rematch, or you just give her another prospect coming up the ranks? That's the tricky part. But either way, absolutely great win by Klein. Moving up on the card. Pat Sabatini defeated Chepe Mariscal in the rematch. 30-27, clearly. Man, that fucking Sabatini is so good with his grappling and control. It is suffocating. And Chepe Mariscal is not an easy guy to control. Like Chepe, I thought good portions of this fight was trying, man. He was trying to get up. He wasn't accepting bottom position often, like say when Brito got controlled by Sabatini in Sabatini's last fight. I thought, Chepe did a great job overall of trying to fight back. You saw in that one motion in the second round where they're both kind of rolling with each other in like Granby rolls, while Sabatini's trying to keep the body lock he has on Mariscal. I thought that was pretty fun and pretty funny, all things considered. But yeah, I thought Chepe was fighting as making it a fight. He was trying to make it a fight. You saw in the first round too. Like I thought Sabatini kind of looked lax. Like all right, this is gonna be a breeze. And then got caught with a head kick that cut him right on the forehead and was bleeding. You saw it throughout the entire fight. He was bleeding pretty good. But Sabatini's technique and positional control was just simply too great. You've seen it in these last 3 fights of his. Jonathan Brito, and now Mariscal. Sabatini's control is just too much for these unranked featherweights right now. Chepe beat him. Chepe beat him in their first fight. Granted, it was a close fight and you couldn't have gone either way, but still. I figured because he's kind of had experience with Sabatini in this, he might have had him, but nope. I feel like Sabatini's rightfully earned a shot at the top 15 again. Just who the fuck do you give him, right? That becomes the question. Because you look at just the top 15, right? You got John Silva, Patricio Pitbull, Danny Ige, David Onoma, and Giga. Now Giga is scheduled to take on Kevin Vallejos on the last card of this year, December 13th, which that should be really fun. Sucks that's in the Apex, though. Now, I think Danny Ige is a fair test. He is the eternal gatekeeper of the featherweight division, so I think Sabatini versus Danny Ige makes a lot of sense. Or Danny Ige versus David Onoma makes not a lot of sense. Now, if the UFC doesn't go this route and they don't give Sabatini a ranked shot, then I guess one more flinch would do the trick. So I guess the winner of Maquizio Costa and Morgan Charrier, or if they want to punish Nathaniel Wood by that robbery win over Jose Delgado than Nathaniel Wood. But that would make no sense to me because Wood has earned a shot at top 15. What are we talking about? As for Chepe, some fun fights on the horizon. He is very fun to watch. They could give him, who am I thinking of? Oh, right. They could give him Nate the Train. They give him Duho Choi, the Korean Superboy. Because Chepe is a fun guy. He never stops moving. He never stops working. He never gives up on himself. So, yeah, you could give him some fun fights with Nathaniel Wood. I guarantee you that'd be fireworks. Moving up on the card, Kyle Dawkins defeats Gerald Mearshart via first round Darce choke. The Darce Knight has done it. I figured if you're called the Darce Knight and you're going against Gerald Mearshart, he might get the sub up, and I was quite happy I picked him via sub on that one. Honestly, I think Gerald Mearshart's best days are behind him. He's washed. It's unfortunate. I love Gerald Mearshart, same as the rest of you guys, but I think he's done for. It's not even so much he's on a 4-fight skid because some of those names are actually pretty good, right? Like RDR, excuse me, Brad Tavares, fellow veteran and journeyman like him at this point. And what was the last one? Oh, Mikel Alexio, because he's training with the fighting nerds now. But Kyle Dawkins, man, he just kind of blew through him, hit him with some hard punches, and then as Mearshart kind of falls down, he cinches up the Darce choke and sort of falls into what seemingly top half guard while he applies the choke. And at first, you see Herb Dean checking Mearshart to see if he's out cold. He is, and he kind of does the thumbs up. But then, literally a second later, he taps. It just looked like Kyle Dawkins had just the right amount of pressure and squeeze on the choke, and Mearshart was done. Man, what a redemption story for Kyle Dawkins. He's in the UFC in his first trip, and just looking at his first trip in the UFC, if you'll indulge me. Where is it? Fight history. Oh, here it is. Because he fights like Roman Dolidze, who fucking smashes his face. Eric Anders, who knocks him out, beats Jamie Pickett, but what does that mean? And had that fight with Kevin Holland. He was okay, but again, some timely losses to Brendan Allen and Phil Haas. Kind of out, but then he just retooled himself. He clearly got better. Went on this 4-fight win streak. Knocks out Michelle Pereira in the first round, and now submits Gerald Mearshart. Look at the times on these two, right? 43 seconds knocks out Pereira, and then 50 seconds submits Mearshart. Boy, Kyle Dawkins has gotten so much better. So much better. Now, top 15 of middleweight, though, that's killer's row right there. You still got Dolidze, who smashed his face, like I said. You got Costa there. You got Joe Pyfer. You got some good names. But I think one more win, and I think he gets a shot at the ranking. And I think Shara Bullet be a great fight for sure. I would love to see that fight against Kyle Dawkins. I'm curious too, because Kyle Dawkins is a good grappler. He got good wrestling. He's got good submission. He'll be a problem for Shara Bullet. But I think Shara Bullet's quicker and more elusive on the feet, so that would give him some problems. If not him, then Mikel Alexio Chuk too. That'd be a fun fight for me. Mearshart, I think he's done. I think I would say retirement would be the best. He's got almost 60 fights to his name. He's looked shot or shop worn is the term I want to use, and I just don't want to see him take any more damage. And I know some people would love to see him and Paul Craig in a grappling match. I actually found out they grappled, and Paul Craig won via submission too. So there's that. I don't know. Maybe Gerald Mearshart should just start doing just BJJ. Moving up on this card, this one is crazy. Ethan Ewing defeats Malcolm Wellmaker via unanimous decision. Holy shit. That's all I can think of, really. It's like Ewing took this fight on 48 hours notice. And this was fought at featherweight, which, understandable. There's no way he could have made the weight on 2 days. And I thought, Ewing is damn good. He is really, really good. You saw it. His boxing combinations were very nice. He's got a good chin on him. He took some nice counter right hooks from Wellmaker. And I feel like it was probably a combination of Wellmaker having to cut weight and then having not to cut weight might have messed him up a little bit. I do think that's a possibility. 2, it's 2 days, right? So Wellmaker was supposed to fight Saeed City. he fell out. Then he was supposed to fight Cody Haddon, different stylistic matchup. And now Ewing on 2 days' notice. And that's like 3 different styles altogether. And, I'm sure Melmaker doesn't know who Ewing is. I guarantee that. Doesn't know his style, and he hasn't had a chance to really study his style and prepare. So, now, fraud check, yeah, for sure. Or because even then, with the hype on Wellmaker and his KO power and all that, you would think he would knock out a guy on 2 days' notice. Well, nope. I also do think this being at featherweight and Ewing not having to cut any weight was really beneficial to him because he is a career bantamweight and he'll definitely go back down to bantamweight. But having not to cut weight, his cardio was going to be fine. He was going to be much more durable, that's for sure. And I think it benefited him. Now, that being said, his skills were just very good. You saw when Wellmaker went for a takedown, Ewing reversed it beautifully. He did a good job of getting a headlock and then hitting knees on Wellmaker as they're in the headlock. And overall, I thought his boxing was just awesome. You saw like he was set up with a few jabs, then dip to the body, then come back upstairs. Like combinations like that. You saw him land a head kick on Wellmaker. Wellmaker's got a chin. I'll say that for sure. He took some. He ate a flush head kick, flush knee, and I think I gave round 2 to Wellmaker just simply due to the fact that I thought he was doing good. He wasn't completely getting smoked. Like he landed some nice body shots on Ewing, landed that spinning back elbow in the ending seconds of round 2. Like Wellmaker had his moments, but overall Ewing just put on a much more, what's the word I want to use? I guess you would say the better performance. Like, I don't want to say it like that because I think consistent. The word was escaping me. Ewing put on a more consistent performance using the clinch, using his boxing, and then throwing certain strikes as Wellmaker overextended himself. This was just a fantastic win by Ethan Ewing. There's I can't sing his praises like high enough. Like 2 weeks or 2 days notice doing this type of performance. I think, Bantamweight's got another good fighter. He's got another good fighter. Where he goes from here, that's interesting because he could fight Said City. He could fight Cody Haddon. He could fight the winner of Bagzat Almakhan versus Alexandre Tuporia. He can fight some of those names. Oh, why not, right? He's shown to be a good UFC level. Wellmaker, I kind of want them to rebook the Cody Haddon fight because I was very intrigued by that fight. I'm still intrigued by that fight. Or they might give him someone down low in the rankings, kind of a layup. I want to see him versus like Adrian Yanez. I want to see that fight, or Christian Quinones. That makes sense to me. Moving up on this card, Aaron Blanchfield submits Tracy Cortez in the second round. Awesome win by Blanchfield, honestly. It looked a bit dicey in the first round. Cortez was doing a good job of denying some of Blanchfield's takedowns, outstriking her on the feet. And overall seemed maybe to be the sharper striker. But then as round 2 went along, you saw Cortez kind of start to fade in the fight. Now, she did get a takedown on Blanchfield, but Blanchfield was able to get back up. And then Blanchfield started to get her own takedown. Specifically, you saw her go for a double leg and kind of just run Cortez across the ring. And then as they're scrambling, and it's in the scramble, Blanchfield's able to cinch up a rear naked choke, not even get the hooks in, but cinch up Cortez's neck. And Cortez, now either the choke was very tight, which very possibly is. Blanchfield's got really good jiu-jitsu. Or Blanchfield was just simply too tired. Eventually taps the choke. As I said, though, it was a bit dicey for me for Blanchfield in those first first round and then first half of round 2. But I think it just shows that Blanchfield is a workhorse. She is going to keep pressing forward, and she is not going to stop until she gets her opponents tired and either finds the finish or just controls the fight later on. Because you look at the stats, right? It looked like Cortez was the busier striker, right? Or at least that's what it looked like to me. What is it? Yeah, I guess not. But she landed at a higher clip, like 40. Oh, wow, man. I'm off with these stats. I apologize on that. Reversal, Blanchfield, more significant strikes. Blanchfield's just a workhorse, man. She just keeps moving forward, doesn't really gives her opponents a chance to breathe. And even if you might be technically better than her, at least on the feet, like Tyler Santos was, Blanchfield's just going to keep coming after you. And now she solidifies herself in the top 5 still. This is an interesting spot for me for Blanchfield, right? She beats Rose Namajunas, and now she avenges one of her only 2 losses to Cortez, or sorry, one of her only 2 losses, and one of them was to Cortez, and she avenged it via submission. I don't know if she gets a title shot off this, because I do believe Natalia Silva is the #1 contender for Shevchenko. And so I guess one more win will definitely solidify Blanchfield. Who do you give her? That's the question. Manafjord, rematch for Manafjord is it's something. I mean, it doesn't jump off the page to me. I feel like her and Alexa Grasso makes the most sense. I think she beats Grasso, because I can't beat Jasmine. Jasmine already fought Fior, so she might have to fight down. And no other flyweight really jumps off the page. Besides, I guess you can argue the winner of Karine Silva and Macy Barber. Macy Barber can make what if Macy Barber wins, okay, fine. They do have a grudge match. I'm too concerned about that fight falling through again, literally the day of the fight. But you could make that fight for the winner or Alexa Grasso. Those are the only 2 that really make sense to me. As for Cortez, it's a tough loss. It kind of affirms that Cortez is a top 10 fighter for sure. I don't think she beats anybody in the top 5, unfortunate as that is. But she could still pick off some names, right? She could fight the loser of Macy Barber, Karine Silva. She could fight maybe Miranda Maverick. I mean, granted, those 2 have been scheduled to fight each other twice now. I guess third times would be the charm. Do they give her Kong Wong? That's a possibility. So there's some options for Cortez. Either way, I don't think she's going to fight up. That's for sure. Moving up on the card. Gregory Rodriguez, or Robocop, defeats Roman Kopylov via unanimous decision. It's simply a tale of what has been the defining factor for Kopylov in terms of losses. He fights anybody who puts good forward pressure on him, and like constant forward pressure, and gives no respect to Kopylov and doesn't let him get his range in. He's going to beat him. Or sorry, they're going to beat him. They're going to beat him. You saw it with Paulo Costa when he just charged forward at Kopylov and never really gave him much room to work. And now you saw with Rodriguez. Like, Rodriguez was mixing in takedowns, mixing in striking. Never got a takedown off of Kopylov, which was impressive for Kopylov. Even actually, he got 2 takedowns on Gregory, specifically when Rodriguez got in sort of a tight waist and was trying to pull Kopylov down. Kopylov simply just swept him off his feet in that first round. Laid it, and you heard it. You heard the sound out and crash, just like good sweep or good judo throw by Kopylov. But that's really all I really gave him. Besides the third round, which I think you could score for Kopylov, where he hurt Rodriguez with a counter left hand. It was a counter left hand. It's just Rodriguez did such a good job of, like I said, attacking with takedowns and attacking with close range striking. You saw he did it also to kind of open up striking against Kopylov. Overall, I thought Rodriguez just did a great job of mixing the martial arts, but doing so in a way to where it opens up his striking more, because he's a powerful striker. And you saw it because he was bloodying up the nose of Kopylov, bloody up his face, actually. And I just thought Rodriguez did a great job of just never giving Kopylov room to work. Now, where they go from here, I mean, that's 2 wins in a row now for Rodriguez. Hermanson and Kopylov, both former top 15 fighters. I mean, all right, so he lost to Cannonier. They could give him Roman Dolidze, who is sitting at 12. I like that fight for Rodriguez. Or I want to see him fight Paulo Costa, just those 2 jacked Brazilians. Who wouldn't want to see that fight? Like, let's be real here. Who wouldn't want to see that fight between Costa and Rodriguez? I certainly would. Roman Kopylov, that's a tough loss for him. This is a tough loss. I don't think he's going to be in the top 15 ever again. I mean, it was great that he was, and I think he can still beat some of these middleweights, for sure. I think he can beat, like, say, Rodolfo Vieira, who lost on this card too. I think, sure. He might provide some problems for Kyle Dawkins And I think he could beat a Michel Pereira. Oh, that's the fight to make. Michel Pereira, Roman Kopylov, both guys coming off losses. That's absolutely the fight to make. You know, two guys who were hyped up going to the top 15. They made it to the top 15 and then fallen off. That fight makes perfect sense. So overall, good win for Rodriguez. Moving up on the card, this might be my favorite knockout on the card. Bo Nickel knocks out Rodolfo Vieira via third round head kick. I say it's my favorite because it is a good lesson in certain fighters that a loss really can elevate your career. Because there was a lot of questions on Bo Nickel coming into this fight, like how does he rebound from the first loss of his career in a pretty dejected loss to Rainier de Ritter. Now, granted, you see where Rainier de Ritter is, even with the loss to Brendan Allen. Rainier de Ritter is still very, very good. But you know, the question was, how was Bo Nickel going to bounce back after his first MMA loss? And I'll say this, he bounced back really fucking good. And I know I apologize, I guess, to younger audience if I'm cursing too much. But I thought Bo Nickel's striking was very improved in this fight. You saw during his first few fights in the UFC, his striking was very explosive, and that was due to the wrestling background, so he could lunge in with like overhands. But he never really had a good system of strikes. You know, he never had really good leg kicks, not a good jab, not a good ability to string punches coming together. It was mostly just one or two strikes, like that lunging punch to the body he does, or the overhand right from a southpaw. But in this fight, I thought his striking had a bit more of a system to it. You saw he landed some really effective jabs on Vieira. Really good job of lunging in for the body and then coming up top with a right hook. Had some good knee stomps in there too. Overall, I think his work with Mike Brown and ATT did much better at giving him a striking system. You saw also with his takedowns, he lifted up Vieira with, what was it, a high, kind of a fireman's carry, I suppose, and then started loading in with ground and pound because of some good knees. Cut Vieira in the first round with some good elbows off the clinch, or sorry, breaking off in the clinch. And, you know, Vieira tried to take Bo Nickel down. Unfortunately, he did too many like simple double legs and or single legs, and that was never going to take Bo Nickel down. And even you saw Bo Nickel do a headlock and kind of just trap dump. Is that the term? Or just slam down Vieira. And then finally in the third round, it gets a little lackadaisical, I will admit, and, you know, kind of starts lulling. But at that point, Nickel was up 2 rounds and he had done a good job of like bloodying up Vieira. He throws a 1-2, Nickel, and then out of nowhere, it seems, just explodes with a head kick, clashes perfectly with Rodolfo Vieira. I mean, that was a perfect head kick. And honestly, I'm thankful Nickel didn't follow up because it looked bad. I mean, Vieira was out for like what was seemingly minutes. So, amazing win by Bo Nickel. Absolutely, absolutely amazing win. And, you know, I think this gains back some of his hype for sure. I know not many people are the biggest fan of him because of how arrogant he sounds. But, hey, man, results are results. And that was the best performance, I think, of his career. If we're talking about who he's fighting, the stage he's on, and like just all the context coming into this fight, that's his best performance for me. I still don't think he's top 15 ready. I'm going to say that right now. I think, you know, Joe Pyfer gives him problems. You know, I think he could beat Marvin Vettori. But, you know, Vittori's scheduled to take on Bruno Ferreira. I think Bruno Ferreira gives Bo Nickel problems. But he's clearly like a top 25 guy would make sense. You know, who am I thinking of? Like Shara Bullet, you know, that's a good test. You know, completely contrasting styles for sure. That'd be an interesting test for Nickel. Who was I thinking of? Ikram Aliskerov. That'd be an interesting fight. Edmund Shabazian. There's some names Bo Nickel can fight for sure. I just don't think he's top 15 ready. Not yet, but he is in a step in the right direction. As for Rodolfo Vieira, just, you know, let him rest, man. That was a bad KO he took. And it's going to be, I think it's going to be a while until we see Rodolfo Vieira again. But if there's one fight I would guess would be interesting for me is Jacob Malkoun, if he ever comes back, with maybe a good back. Because I know they were scheduled to fight each other. So I guess that's something you could do. So, though, just rest. All right, moving up. Our main card opener. Man. Benoit Saint-Denis knocks out Beneil Dariush in 16 seconds. I mean, really, what else am I gonna say? So it was BSD. What he does, he came forward at Beneil Dariush. Dariush landed a really good leg kick that stumbled and dropped Benoit, but it looked like Beneil got overzealous and went for some knees in the clinch, and you saw Benoit counter with a left hook off the break that just slumped Benny Dariush. I mean, face first, and then Benoit followed it up with one more right hand. It looked like, and Beneil was out bad. I had said in my prediction that I just don't trust the Beneil chin. I think he's been hurt and knocked out one too many times for my liking. Like you saw it with Armin and Oliveira. They smoked him in the first round. He got dropped by Renato Moicano, and now he fights BSD, who's a marauder and just never stops coming forward. And and BSD's got good power. He's shown it. Yeah, I thought this was a recipe for a Beneil Dariush knockout loss, and lo and behold, it came true. I didn't think it was going to be 16 seconds. I didn't think that. I thought it would be much more competitive, and Beneil's still, he's still a crafty guy. He's still got good grappling and stuff. But man, Benoit ran him over. He ran him over. I mean, it's interesting to see. Like you think Renato Moicano beat him, and I thought he did it very, very impressively. Benoit gave Poirier some problems until Poirier made his reads and knocked him out. But Benoit has certainly improved. He's now training with like Nasruddin Imavov. He's got a new coach, and it seems to be doing wonders for him. You saw it, Kyle Prepolek, Marcinho Hufi, and now this Beneil win. I mean, Benoit's rising through the lightweight rankings. He's interesting, and he had hype before in his first time climbing up the ranks when he beat Thiago Moises and Matt Frivola. But now this is more impressive for me, just like seeing how much he's gone better. There's one fight I definitely want. I know some people want Rafael Fiziev, and that's fair. That'd be a great fight. But I really want to see Benoit versus Matios Gamrot. I think that's the right fight to make. Give Benoit a chance at the top 10. Imagine, both guys come forward all the time. That'd be a very fun fight for me personally. Plus, seeing how Benoit deals with a chain wrestler like Gamrot would be fun. As for Beneil Dariush, tough loss, man. I don't know what they want to do with Beneil because they could. Do they feed him another up and comer? Do they let's look at lightweight, right? All right, so Beneil was number 9. Do they give him Michael Chandler, a battle of Ungs? That's a possibility. I'd like to see the winner of Grant Dawson versus Miguel Torres be against Beneil, or man, they might feed him Marcinho Hufi. Granted, I give him a good shot against Hufi if Hufi cannot shore up his defensive wrestling, but it just sucks to see. Still, though, great win by Benoit. This one put a smile on my face, and so did it to another guy. Carlos Prates knocks out Leon Edwards in the second round. Boy, he knocked him out bad. I'll get to that in a second. First round, it was kind of the technical kickboxing fight I thought they were. Both Prates and Edwards were trading leg kicks. Then Edwards, coming into this fight, it seemed like if there was one guy who was going to grapple, it'd be Edwards, and it was. He shot for the takedown. He did a pretty good job taking Carlos down, and then went for the back. Granted, it led to a pretty meme-worthy moment where Prates he's on his feet. Edwards has his back standing, and Edwards starts peppering Prates with shots. You can just see him smiling, because as he's getting hit, they mean nothing to him. Eventually, they break, and then they kind of strike for a bit, but I thought it was a clear Edwards round. They were even talking to each other during the first round, and especially in the clinch. And it seems Prates does that a lot. He's kind of like Gene Silva in a way, where they like to showboat and just get in their opponent's head and let them make mistakes and just have fun in there. And you saw it because Edwards fought a bit more emotional in the second round, started to use his striking more than his wrestling, and that was a mistake at the end of the day. As Prates lines up a left straight, literally knocks Edwards off his feet as he goes stiff. It kind of looked like if you have an action figure and you place or its limbs exactly how you want to, and then you just throw him across the room. That's what it looked like. Just and then Prates laser point left hand follow up shot. That was all he needed to knock out Leon Edwards. And Leon, well, one, he's never been KO'd in his career. That's his first knockout loss. But more importantly, you saw his face, man. It was, if you remember last year when Terrence McKinney got head kicked by Esteban Ribovich, he was smiling. This was worse. Like, have you seen those memes where they put a smiley face on fighters and as they're like getting knocked out or something, they're just like having a ball. Like, yay! Oh man, that's so awesome. That was Leon Edwards' face. There was no filter in that. He was smiling like, oh wow, oh, I'm having the time of my life, man. Oh, it's good. It was kind of scary, if I'm being honest with you. Like, damn, Prates just rewrote his brain for a second. He literally had the smile of somebody who who ate an edible right before the fight. Just like, ah. But damn, Carlos Prates is fucking fun, man. He's my favorite fighting nerd. I had struggled who was my favorite between like him, Silva, and Rufy when they were like both rising and getting these highlight reel knockouts. I think it's official. Prates is my favorite, not just because he's the only one who's winning, but I mean, he all he ever does is win by highlight reel knockout. Jeff Neal, Charles Radke, Neil Magny, what was it? Trevor Giles, Li Jing Leong, and now Leon Edwards. Every time he wins, it's a highlight reel. Just the aura farming is immense. What else can I say besides he is the scariest striker at 170 pounds? That left hand of his is a problem for everybody in the welterweight division. It's just a problem because he lands clean and he can knock you out with one punch. In fact, and not even just that, it's like he has other weapons. You've seen he's knocked out people with elbows, like Jeff Neal. He knocked out Radke with a knee to the body. Prates has other weapons. It's just that left hand of his, when it connects flush, you're going to sleep. Now, he calls for a title shot. Here's the problem. We have so many different high-level welterweight fights, right? We got Michael Morales, who I'm going to get into, who might be the next guy in line. Problem is, you have Ian Gary versus Bilal Muhammad next, I guess this week in Qatar. And if Ian Gary wins, I think he has more of a claim to a title shot because he did beat Prates. I think Prates needs one more win. And you know what? You got a former champion who just come off a loss, who's a striker. You got Jack Della Maddalena. Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't want to see JDM versus Prates? Man, that'd be fucking awesome. That'd be an awesome striker's delight. Or you could give him Usman. That's not a bad test. But I think I want Usman versus Brady. So that's the perfect fight to make, I think. Prates versus JDM, he wins, absolutely title shot. Because let's say Ian Gary wins against Bilal, right? Then I think it's either Gary or Morales for a title shot. I do not think Kamaru Usman deserves a title shot. I do not care his legacy. Yes, is he one of the greats of welterweight? Absolutely. But I can't. But why should he get a win off of beating Joaquin Buckley? That's not fair. So I think Prates give him JDM. As for Leon Edwards, this is rough, man. 3 losses in a row after such a good win streak, and kind of defeating the Usman era of welterweight. The Bilal fight is what it was. Some circumstances you can say affected his performance. Fighting at like 5 a.m. That probably messed him up, absolutely. But then Brady handles him pretty easily, and then now this knockout to Prates, he's losing worse and worse. I think Joaquin Buckley probably is the sensible fight to make. I'd actually be very intrigued because Leon is definitely more technical than Bucky. Sorry, Bucky. Than Buckley, but why am I fucking up his name all of a sudden? But Joaquin Buckley is much more explosive than Edwards. So that'd be an interesting fight. I favor Buckley, but I still would want to see that fight. So I think Edwards versus Buckley makes sense. Shoot, it could be a fight night main event. I actually be interested in that. Moving up on the card, our feature fight. Michael Morales ran through Sean Brady in the first round. Man, this guy is good. And Michael Morales, man, he's only 25, and I think he solidified himself as the #1 contender. I really do. He looked so big in there. He was a monster. Like, when that beast lands a jab on you, it's gonna hurt no matter what. And Brady, you saw what he was up against, right? Closing the distance, you're going to have some mean like elbows and knees off the break. Fighting from distance, Morales, maybe not the cleanest technique, but clearly could string his punches together nicely in combination. And his power is great in this division. You saw it by the end sequence that finished the fight. Brady kind of lunges in with the hook, tries to get something going with the grapple or wrestling, but couldn't get close to Morales. And Morales just starts opening up kind of a right hand on top, left uppercut, right uppercut, hook. Just swing, kind of just those wide arc punches, but each one of them landed, and not all of them, not even all of them flush, but like even grazing, you saw them affect Brady, and eventually Morales just swarmed him to a finish. I mean, Morales, man, he's good. He's got good striking. He's got great striking. He's got good power. He's 25. He's a beast in there. I'm telling you, man, he's gonna fight at middleweight one day. He is big for the weight class, and Morales is. I mean, he's got so much time, man. But it's clear. It's clear. I think that guy is gonna fight for a belt one day. Obviously, he's skilled enough. I mean, I think Brady will fight for a belt too. It's just he lost to a phenom. He lost to a phenom. That's all it was. So now with this fight, I think the matchmaking makes sense. All right, so I think Michael Morales should fight Islam Makhachev for the belt. Unless they want to do Topuria, but I don't know how that would work. I think Morales is the number one contender. This win, Gilbert Burns, Neil Magny, 3 first-round finishes. He's undefeated. I think Michael Morales, and you saw how many people in attendance were cheering for him. Not only in his native Ecuador, but like the Mexican community as well. Like the Latino community is all behind Michael Morales, and he's turning into a big star. You saw like he had the Michael Morales mask, Spider-Man one. I mean, I thought that was pretty fun. But yeah, I think Michael Morales is a real problem, and I think he's earned a shot. I really do. I think this win, not just like beating Brady, but like the way he did it, I think was a bit more impressive for me. I honestly do. I think he deserves a title shot. As for Sean Brady, tough loss, but he's in his prime. I think he's going to get better, and we've seen it. Brady came back off the loss to Bilal and looked better. I think Brady will fight for a belt one day. I do. I think he's really good, but it's a tough pill to swallow because he was really close to that title shot. But who I think the fight I want to see next for him, I want to see him versus Kamaru Usman because I'm very intrigued by that fight because Usman is known for having stellar takedown defense, got really good boxing, and he's a very, very good wrestler. And he's shown even with age, he's still up there in terms of skill level. But Brady's jiu-jitsu, man, that's a really interesting test because I think, Brady's jiu-jitsu is the best in the division, besides maybe Gilbert Burns if we're talking like just pure accolades and pure technique. But still, I think Usman versus Brady would be an interesting fight. Plus, both are shorter, stockier, and physical, and just stout for the weight class. So I'm kind of intrigued by that fight. All right, but still, absolutely stellar win by Michael Morales. Apologies for the honest. Anyway, moving up, our co-main event. This one was a bit dejecting for me. Valentina Shevchenko defeats Zhang Weili, unanimous decision, 50-44 across the board. I'll say this. Great win by Shevchenko. She proved why she is the pound-for-pound best fighter in the women's divisions across all the divisions, obviously. And is she the best fighter today? I think so. Because even if like Nunes were to come back, right now the work that Shevchenko is continuing to doing, lost her belt and got it back. And then, now these 2 dominant wins, mind you, against Fior and Weili. I think right now, today, all time, I still pick Amanda Nunes as one to go. But today, it's Shevchenko. But boy, was that fight boring. It was at times. But, it's kind of like how GSP in his run, boring at times, but dominant. Absolutely dominant, no question. And honestly, the fight was interesting for me because it was there's weight classes for a reason. And this fight showed why there are weight classes. Weili was clearly smaller than Shevchenko, had a hard time getting into range. You saw Shevchenko do a good job of keeping range, hand fighting, landing good body kicks. clearly the stronger of the two, and was able to bully Wei Li on the ground on numerous occasions. In fact, if I look at the stats right here, right? So Shevchenko, when it came to the grappling, she got 5 takedowns. She got all of her takedowns, no problem. And how much control damage did she get? And because that's the part that I'm kind of interested in. Let's see here. Here we are. Strikes by position. Because it looked like every time. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get the stats here, but they're not working for me. But essentially, for Shevchenko, she got to take down every round, and it kind of remained there. Well, all right, I take it back, because the first round, Wei Li did a good job of trying to fight for butterfly hooks and not let Shevchenko just flatten her into side control and her crucifix. I thought Wei Li did a good job of that. But then rounds 2 and onward, takedown, takedown, takedown every time, and Wei Li had no answer. Like, and you could see the clear frustration on Wei Li's face, like having to close the distance, but she's going to get counter strike by either that check right hook or that left body kick or an intercepting knee. And then if she fights at range, Shevchenko's just going to pick her apart. So, Shevchenko, at times she can be exciting, like the Jessica I fighter Andrade. But at times it's simple. Pure control of the situation. She dictates when they engage. She dictates the range. She dictates whether the fight's on the feet or on the ground. That's what Shevchenko does. Now, to do this to Wei Li was very impressive. Absolutely. But man, but it is not entertaining at times. It is unfortunate. I knew there was a possibility that, Shevchenko could hold Wei Li down and just keep her there. But I thought Wei Li was going to be more explosive and much more squirrely, I was wrong. Boy, was I wrong. Great job by Shevchenko, just further cementing her legacy. I'll say that. Further cementing it. And showing even at 37, she's still there, man. And she ain't going nowhere anytime soon. Now, where they go from here? For Wei Li, I think it's a little obvious. She'll just go back down to strawweight to fight Mackenzie Dern. Take some time, obviously. But I think she'll, get her belt back against Mackenzie Dern. There's no way in my mind am I thinking Mackenzie Dern beats Zhang Wei Li. Now, as for Shevchenko, it was weird. Joe Rogan said, there's really no one else in this division, which I thought was, what the hell? Like, you had Aaron Blanchfield on this card, who's number 4, who just won. And then you have Natalia Silva in the crowd, who's the number 1 contender. So that was weird. Sure. And, credit to Shevchenko. I respect a champion who knows who are some of the other contenders in her division, just enjoys. I guess I have a thing, right? I really like champions who just stay in their weight class and try to get the most title defenses. Like, you look at Merab and what he's doing. Cementing his legacy in a different way. Cementing he's the greatest in that division has ever seen, which I like. Don't get me wrong. I do think certain fighters deserve a shot at 2 division glory. Like, I thought Wei Li did everything right to earn the shot against Shevchenko. I thought Islam did everything right to earn the shot against Jack Della Maddalena. But then you have certain guys who I don't think have earned the shot at double champ glory, like Ilia Topuria. I thought 1 title defense really shouldn't have garnered him to get a second belt, but he vacated the belt and didn't hold up the division. So is what it is. So, but having fighters like I said, Merab, like Pantoja, like Shevchenko, who not only dominate their weight class, but enjoy it. They clearly enjoy the different challenges given to them. I like that in champions. I do. Now, you have 3 options. One of them is Natalia Silva, who's the number 1 contender and provides a different challenge for Shevchenko, as Natalia Silva is extremely fast, the fastest in this division. Could give some Shevchenko problems, but if Shevchenko gets a hold of her, then that's a different story. Aaron Blanchfield, for sure, but I think Blanchfield needs 1 more win. And then maybe Shevchenko could move up in weight and fight Kayla Harrison if the Amanda Nunes fight does not come to be or doesn't come into fruition. So those are the options. Now, I personally think Natalia Silva should be, but Shevchenko wants to give up, vacate her belt and move up to bantamweight because she's fought at bantamweight before. She fought for the belt against Nunes. Then you know what? She's earned it. Go ahead. So That's what I think. Still, we have the second greatest women fighter of all time, or woman of all time in MMA, and that is Shevchenko. I think she'll forever be number two, unfortunately. Recency bias put aside, just because I think Amanda Nunes beat her twice, no matter how close that fight was. Mood up on the card. We got a tale of the opposite story, really. Like I said, we got our main event. If you like this video, like and subscribe and leave a comment down below what you think. We had Islam Makhachev dominate Jack Della Maddalena for all 25 minutes. Absolutely insane how easy he made it. Really, the story came down to three things. One, the leg kicks. I think Islam really hurt the legs of Jack Della Maddalena as he landed some really good calf kicks. Specifically, JDM, when he moved into southpaw, Islam was chopping at the lead leg, and so you saw by the fourth and fifth, like JDM was grimacing. It weirdly looked like he was going to cry, but he's made that grimace before. I don't know what was with his leg. I think it got really messed up with those calf kicks. Second, you saw no matter how hard JDM prepared, man, I don't think it was going to be. No matter how prepared you are, it seems, it does not matter. Islam is going to take you down. We actually saw different types of takedowns too. Like he went for the single leg and then reaped the standing leg of JDM taken down. And then from there, or just shoot simple double legs. And you saw Islam transitioned so fast that JDM didn't even have a chance to sprawl or have his hands into play. And then from there, Islam just dominated from top half guard. Either he was framing for that Darce choke, framing for a Kimura, or just simply smothering JDM. There's nothing JDM could do. There's nothing he could do. And you know what's funny? We said, how they're weight classes for a reason. We saw that in the co-main event. But this one, we saw, boy, this guy was a lightweight. He's been fighting at the wrong weight class. Or I guess not really. He's the best lightweight in the world. I guess I meant to say, welterweight among the lightweights, really. Because Islam looked huge, man. He looked big. He looked as big as Jack. And that wrestling, man, that years and years and years of training, dedication, and just overall, what's the word I'm looking for here? Pure discipline. That's the word. Just discipline won them this fight. I mean, again, not as fun, honestly. But, 19 minutes or so of control time in a 25-minute fight is amazing. Now, I thought Jack, had a good game plan in the first, pressuring Makhachev, but it just got worse and worse and worse. There was nothing he could do. There's one credit you could give JDM, and that was his submission defense. You saw it. Islam tried to frame, try to go for the Darce. JDM did a great job of breaking his grips. And even when Islam did 2-on-1 for Kimura, JDM's submission defense was great in this fight. Absolutely. But Islam was just a higher level. Just a higher level. Now, I guess, what else can I say? Let's talk about Islam Makhachev, right? I think he surpassed Khabib when he made his fourth title defense as the greatest lightweight of all time. And now I think Islam Makhachev has passed Khabib in the GOAT conversation as well. He is the most successful lightweight at 4 title defenses. He is now the 11th double champion in UFC history, and has basically done more than what Khabib has done. You look at the record right now. His early run is what it is, but look at the names: Armin Sarukian, Dan Hooker, Charles Oliveira, Volkanovski twice, Dustin Poirier, Renato Moicano, and Jack Della Maddalena. This is a stellar record. This is a stellar resume he has. And he is the pound for pound best fighter in the world. It's not up for debate for me, because Topuria became double champ as well. That was impressive, but I think overall the body of work that Islam Makhachev has done over the past few years, he's pound for pound best fighter in the world. It was shocking because I know it was foolish of me to pick JDM, but I thought he would have his moments. I didn't think he'd get utterly whooped like that. But Who the hell beats that guy? Really, that's the question. Who you got to be a once in a million talent. You got to wake up on the right day. Everything went well for you that day. You know, and even then on your great days, like you'll never have another day like that. I don't think you're beating Islam. Now, who do we give Islam? Because it's big money fights, obviously big fights. Because I think Michael Morales is the rightful number one contender at welterweight, and he does provide some interesting challenges because Morales is even bigger than JDM, and so. Question is, how does Islam handle such a physical specimen? Granted, he wrestled bears; he'll be fine. Um, I don't think Kamaru Usman deserves a title shot. I think that'd be BS for the rest of this division. Simply due to the fact is I don't think beating Joaquin Buckley and being on a one fight win streak gets you a title shot. But at the same time, they could do it for the legacy because Usman is one of the best welterweights ever. So maybe, I don't know. I mean, I'd be intrigued how the wrestling goes if I think Islam beats him. They could give him Ilia Topuria, maybe at the White House, but I think Ilia is too small if this is at 170. If this is 155, we have a different conversation. And then, I've heard some people go Shafkat. I don't think Shafkat deserves a title shot. I know he was promised one when he beat Ian Gary, but I think the division has simply overlapped him is the word I'm looking for. Or because, I understand he's injured. I understand Shafkat's injured, but, Brady's done more work than him. Ian Gary's going to do more work for him, especially if he beats Bilal. Usman, got back off a win. Morales is doing more work. Prates, Shafkat needs to come back and fight somebody if he wants to get a title shot, in my opinion. JDM, I've said it before, give him Carlos Prates. That's the fight I want to see. But with that being said, that's been my post-fight show of UFC 322. Overall, I think the card was pretty good. Up until the last two fights, they kind of dulled it for me. But still, we saw greatness of different aspects. So what more can you ask for, I suppose? I give it 8 out of 10. And because some of those knockouts, they were awesome. Highlight of my day. And overall, my predictions, I got 9 of 14, or I guess 9 of 5 on the card. Not too bad. I did pretty well for the prelims. I got 7 and 2 out of them. Then main card, not so good, 2 of 3. But is what it is when it comes to this stuff. Overall, though, that's been my prediction that's been my post-fight show for UFC 322. I hope you enjoyed the video. Stay calm, stay respectful, and enjoy the violence. I'll see y'all next time.